So after you have seen my entire design process from start to finish, by approaching the whole tattoo with the discussion, going over to the rough sketching stage, and then finalizing and rendering the entire design in Photoshop, I want to use this video to talk a little bit about, let's call it art or design philosophy. Because maybe some of you were sitting there watching the video and were thinking, so how does he come up with those elements? Like, why is Daniel deciding for this composition, and how is he coming up with the entire idea for the design? I want to be frankly, sometimes I also don't see any meaning in my designs. Just to say it with the words of Salvador Dali, just because I don't know the meaning, it doesn't mean it has no meaning. I personally interpret this phrase for myself as sometimes with your conscious mind, you don't see a meaning, you don't see a relationship between the elements. But on some degree, it seems to resonate on a subconscious level. I think, for example, many of my clients who reach out to me, they often tell me that they felt very connected to the art I'm putting out there. And I personally believe sometimes the meaning lays actually in the subconscious level. So what an artist does is, he takes an idea, a thought, or whatever input he or she has, and is able to translate it into a visual language. Something where somebody can just look at it, no spoken word, the entire artwork speaks for itself. And like a translator, the wider your vocabulary is, the more you can translate, or the more precise you can, chisel the meaning out of a translation. And I think that's what we do as artists. So we learn how to draw, we learn skills like Photoshop, all kinds of digital artwork skills, and obviously our main craft, tattooing. Therefore, I differentiate when people say like, somebody's, for example, very skillful in his craft, but this person has absolutely no idea, like no creativity, nothing genuine about it. Vice versa, like if the person has a lot of creative ideas, like genius ideas, but the execution is just so poorly because this person doesn't want to put the time and effort and the practice into it to learn their skill, to really translate this idea into a coherent piece that can present to an audience. In my personal opinion, this is the whole purpose of communication. You communicate to others. It's the same as an artist. You create a design to be seen by others. I also want to dive one more time into the whole topic of creativity and talk out of my personal experience of being my entire life pursuing art and creativity and doing this for 16 years professionally as a communication designer, musician, photographer, and now tattoo artist. I learned for myself that creativity was nothing I could really generate or create. I felt creativity is more something, it's like an energy which is just flowing through you, and I believe as an artist, it is your highest purpose to become very, very attuned to those impulses. It's almost like you're an antenna, and creativity is this signal you try to receive. The majority of my best ideas actually came from a place of stillness. Like all great decisions, like even the decision to become a tattoo artist I was walking with my dog outside, like far in nature, that was still in Germany. And there's just silence, there's nothingness. And I would just walk there, not even listening to music, and just listening to the silence. I think it is really important when an impulse, when one of those ideas comes to you, it's almost like catching a fish out of the water. You need to be very good because this fish you just had on your hook can slip away very quickly. So if you have a good idea, make it a routine. Take something like a book. I usually make notes also on my phone just to capture every single idea, because the idea might be unrelated to whatever project you're working on as of the moment. But there comes this point where you have almost this library of ideas. And then whenever a project comes up, I would just read through all my notes, and sometimes there comes this great idea, this great thought, and it fits perfectly into the current project I want to start. I believe as an artist, the more you build your library of ideas and write everything down, journal about it, the better and finer attuned you become as an artist, and that will develop your creativity and especially your own creative voice. Because if you're in stillness, there is no outside influence, there's just your inner voice. And that is unique to you. And I believe the reason why I became very quickly quite successful in my career being a tattoo artist was exactly that. I was very creative with my designs. I might have not been the best tattoo artist when I started, obviously in my first year, but what I was lacking at skill at that time, I could make up with creativity. And I can really urge you to do the same thing, because that will be the reason why clients will fly from all over the world to you to get tattooed by you, because they want to have your personal design language. And by just browsing through the internet, you will not find the answers for that. You will just become a copy of somebody else. And the original is probably even better than whatever we can copy. Instead of needing inspiration from the internet, from other people, just shut off all the voices, listen to yourself and attune yourself. Again, it's like an antenna. And when an idea comes, value it. Because most of the great ideas we just sometimes throw out of the window just because we didn't value this idea in this moment in time. So start valuing those ideas so you become more confident in your art and know how to market your art and how to present your art. Because that's very important as an artist. Every single artwork which is not released is like never existing. So long and behold, let's move over to the next video, which is the second design with the body part and the overall layout. Let's do that.